Welcome back to the Messy Friendship Lessons podcast. Woo! The title for today's episode is The Need to Be Needed Club. So, we're going to be talking about those who are members of the Need to Be Needed Club and need to be needed in their friendships. I've had many people say to me before, she does not need me, she has other friends. To which my thought has always been, what is this obsession with being needed and why is being wanted not enough? Why is being wanted not enough? So, here lies my premise for today's episode. Your need to be needed is harming your friendships, and being wanted says so much more. Why do you feel this need to be needed? I think it's because you've equated necessity to value, and I don't think you're crazy for doing that. There's a lot of things that we need and rely on, and therefore deduce that they are valuable. For example, oxygen, water, food. I need those things to survive. Me and you, we both need those things to survive. So, and those things are extremely valuable to us as human beings because they're a necessity, which is why this mindset and approach to friendship is really common. It is why I've had many different friends when explaining maybe why they no longer talk to someone or why they drifted away. You know, she doesn't need me, she has her other friends. This is a pain point for people because we need to feel valuable in our friendships. And if you've equated necessity to value, then when you are not needed in someone's life, when they are not dependent on you, you feel rejected. If they do not depend on me, if they do not need me, then I am not valuable to them. And so, whereas we can follow the thought process, I don't think we should apply that logic to relationships and certainly not to our friendships. Because friendships are not about codependency, but rather coexistence. So, beyond equating necessity to value, let's dig deeper into this need to be needed in friendships. Well, first, I think there's a list of reasons. If you are needed, then you are special. If you are needed, then you can't be replaced. There's this special place for you that no one else can fill in this person's life because they need you. If you are needed, then you will always be included in all activities, so you never end up feeling left out. Because they need you, you have to be around. If you are needed, it also silences any insecurity of your friend secretly not liking you or not really being your friend, because that can't be true if they need you, right? So all of these things sound super lovely. I mean, being special, being validated, being confident in your friendship, being included. Those are all things to desire from friendship, and those are all things I would encourage you to desire and look for in friendship. However, notice that there is a common thread to being needed. Being needed is about how you feel. When we think of being needed and why it's important, it places a lot of focus on us and how it makes us feel. And it's not really about our friends. And I think that's the first red flag because this is about validating your worth, right? When we feel like we are indispensable to someone, we believe we matter more. So, how does this differ from being wanted and how is this harming your friendships? I think of it like this. Being needed is dependency and being wanted is choice. Being needed, you're there because someone depends on you, whereas being wanted, that's when someone chooses you. Not because they have to, but because they love your presence and they want you there and they want to have a connection and a friendship with you. And my question to you is, would you rather be someone's necessity or someone's joy? Would you rather be someone's dependency or someone's choice? If the latter is your answer, if dependency is your answer, then I think you struggle with insecurity. And the danger with insecurity is it lends itself to ego. And they're often two sides of the same coin. When you're insecure about not being valued in your friendships, your ego will step in and say, you must be indispensable to feel important. That's how you're going to be valued. Another example is when you're insecure about your self-worth, you look to your friendships to gain that validation or gain that importance that says that you're worthy of love, that you are interesting, that you are fun to hang out with, that you're a great friend. When you're insecure about being replaced in a friendship, then that ego will push you to make yourself irreplaceable. And that can be scary at times because it can show up in controlling behavior or jealousy and that need for control. I should be your only confidant. I should be your most important friend. I need you to need me. If you have other friends, I feel rejected by that. And if you have other friends that you are close to or closer to, our friendship loses value because then I don't feel like you need me. Ego is insecurity's best friend. But ego is not the type of friend that will call you up and push you to grow. It is the type of friend that will allow you to stay in bad habits or bad cycles. Ego comes to insecurity's defense. Ego is there to protect insecurity, but it encourages insecurity to stay in the place that they are, even though it may be harmful to them. Whereas humility is insecurity's true friend. Humility helps insecurity change and grow and develop into confidence. So, whereas we spoke about how ego steps in when you're insecure about different areas in friendship, humility, when you're insecure about being valued in friendships, humility steps in and says, hey, there is a bigger picture here, and your worth is not tied to external validation or being superior over their other friends. Humility says to insecurity, them having other friends is not a sign of their rejection of us, but a sign of just how amazing our friend is. With humility, it encourages you to be vulnerable instead of jealous, and it stops you from shutting off yourself from friends due to insecurities. So I saw this comment on TikTok that said, I stopped reaching out and fell apart with such a good friend because I thought she had better, cooler friends. And I rewatched our texts and she wanted to be best friends. And they were sad about it and they were asking for advice on how to overcome fear because they were scared of getting rejected. They didn't know how to reach out to this friend again. In her situation, because she believed her friends had cooler and better friends, therefore didn't need her, she ended up pushing away, in hindsight now, what she realized could have been a really beautiful and fulfilling friendship that clearly this person she was friends with wanted, because she said like she wanted to be best friends. And I think that is the danger of letting insecurity and ego be the driving seat in your friendships, because I think they are truly the root of this need to be needed. The root of the need to be needed is insecurity and ego, and they are the crazy two friends that you do not want driving your car. You need the rational humility to step into the driver's seat, to calm down insecurity and turn insecurity into confidence. Comment on TikTok made me think of my own experience with this. So I had a friend who pulled away from me because she felt that I did not need her and I had other friends. And so I guess she felt, what was the point in investing in this friendship? You clearly don't need me. I want to, go where I'm needed. So I'm a firm believer in going where you're wanted, but not where you're needed, not with relationships. And it was a shame because this person was an amazing person, and I genuinely believe if her fear of rejection or insecurity in friendship and need to be needed hadn't taken control, we probably would be extremely close today because we had so much in common. We got on really, really well, but for some reason, she felt threatened by the idea of me having other friends and felt weirded out by it. And would be really down about that. Like, not even in a aggressive, angry way, like in a genuinely really sad way. and because of that pulled away and decided to stop investing in our friendship because she felt, oh, well, you have all these other people in your life. But the truth is, a lot of people, most of us, our hearts are really big. We have a lot of space for people. One of the 24 friendship rules was new year, new friends. I'm so open to the idea of new friends because friendships do come and go. And I think that's the other side of this need to be needed, is the consequences of your desire for that need on your friends, because it can put an emotional toll on the person on the receiving end. The mindset can be exhausting for both of you. So both for the person seeking validation, because if you see someone with their other friends, it will stress you out and make you feel not valued in your friendships, which is not a nice feeling. And the person on the other end begins to feel suffocated by these expectations that you should be the only person that they need, and this desire for them to be dependent on you. And for me, I remember feeling very weirded out by it. I never said anything because I didn't know how to broach the topic in a way that would not make them even more sad. I would just kind of laugh it off or just not react. But in the back of my head, I would always think, like, why do you want me to not have anyone else but you? And I don't think they really wanted that. They didn't want me to be alone and just have them. But because of that ego, they were really only looking at it from their perspective and not realizing needing me to need them over any other friend is saying that. It is saying, I want you to have me and nobody else. That is the danger with it, because ego has taken the front seat. You're only viewing it from your perspective and how you feel. Like, something I talk to a lot of my friends about, there are some people who do not see the people in their lives as individual beings, as who they are. They see them only through their relation to them. In that situation, I felt that my friend did not view me through the lens of who I was. I felt that my friend only viewed me through the lens of who I was to them and how I made them feel, and not as an individual. So not as who I am. I'm the main character and Thomasin is my friend in my life, rather than viewing me as Thomasin, someone I am friends with, who we share our lives with each other, but she is a person of herself. She has other facets of her life. And I think a key lesson for everyone when it comes to friendship isn't about how it centers us in the lives of others, but our care for the lives of others. So if you're someone who needs to be needed, think about the friend that you currently feel like they don't need me, and put your name in there. So for example, friendship isn't about how it centers me in the life of Thomasin. Let me fill in it with myself. So friendship isn't about how it centers me in the life of Thomasin, but it is about my care for the life of Thomasin and the care Thomasin has for my life. That is what friendship is. So I would encourage you to shift your mindset from being needed to being wanted. I think being wanted is so beautiful, and I think that is really what is important in friendships. It is so liberating when you let go of this need to be needed and start enjoying your friendships for what they are, not comparing yourself to someone's other friends and thinking about what is going on in their other friendships or whether they need you in their life, and just embracing and experiencing them and the friendship for all it can be. Being wanted is so much better because it's about choice over codependency. The dangers of codependency are quite a few, and potentially a podcast episode on its own. But codependency in friendships stops people from showing up authentically. Because you are dependent on each other and there is a need, there is a fear of doing anything to destabilize that or lose that. So in codependent friendships, usually there is a friend or both friends feel the pressure to meet certain expectations, and that prevents people from showing up authentically in their friendships. Whereas when there isn't that requirement, people show up authentically as themselves, and it allows you to have deeper friendships where you are both more vulnerable and you can deepen that bond, whereas codependency leads to a more shallow friendship. The other plus of being wanted over codependency is that there's mutual respect. You realize that you are independent people that are choosing to invest in each other because you value friendship and you respect each other's lives, and the boundaries are not blurred. Because with codependent friendships, often the boundaries are blurred or non-existent, and one person may feel like they are heavily relied on or are giving so much while the other is taking advantage of that. I implore you to shift your focus. If you find that you are someone who has often said that statement, they do not need me, they have other friends, or you have found yourself in the position like the girl in the TikTok comment who said that she ended up drifting away from a close friend because she thought they had better and cooler friends, and looking back she realizes that her friend wanted to be best friends. So if you are in that position and can relate to that, this is what I want you to do. I want you to stop comparing yourself to other friends. Focus on what you bring to the friendship rather than how needed you are or whether there is a spot in this person's life that only you can fill. And then next time you are feeling rejected or left out or weirded out, ask yourself, what is the value in this friendship and how do we make each other feel? Because often with the need to be needed, when you examine the actual bond between the two of you, nothing is wrong. The only thing that is wrong is that they don't need you. Ask yourself, does this person want to be my friend? Do they show intent? Do they put in effort into our friendship? And then if they do, you need to take your focus off this need to be needed. To sum it all up, you are missing out massively and even losing some of your friendships by focusing on being needed. Friendship is not about being needed. It is about being valued, being loved, and being chosen. That's where the true connection lies, and that all comes from being wanted. So if you're part of the Need to Be Needed Club, I present you with this challenge. What would happen if you let go of the need to be needed and embrace the freedom of simply being wanted? Isn't being wanted enough? So to the members of the Need to Be Needed Club, I want to know if your friendships shift when you stop seeking validation through being indispensable or needed and you start to focus on whether you are wanted, because often you'll find you are. To finish off this episode, I'm going to leave you with my final thought. I'm going to read a poem I wrote a while back when I encountered that situation of a friend drifting away from me because they felt that I did not need them because I had other friends when I wanted to be their friend. The desperation to be needed. What is this obsession in being needed? Isn't being wanted enough? Isn't being wanted so beautiful? Oh, he doesn't need me. Oh, she doesn't need me. She has them. He has them. And how selfish that you want someone to just have you so you feel important and worthy of love. How warped your understanding of love is. You want to be the only one, the only friend, the only confidant, the only source of joy, the only companion, the only shoulder to cry on. Well, for me, being wanted is more than enough. Being wanted is being chosen. Being wanted is being valued. Being wanted is being seen. Being needed is void of choice and reeks of dependency. I'm sorry that someone taught you that love is dependency. Love is choice. Love is selfless. It is not tied to how it centers us in the lives of others, but in our care for the lives of others. I love you, so I celebrate the joy you experience even if I'm not there. I love you, so I'm relieved that when you needed it, you had a shoulder to cry on, even if it wasn't mine. I do not measure my value to you based on your need for me. My value to you is not attached to me filling an empty spot that's mine and mine alone. My value to you is clear in you choosing me as a friend, confidant, source of joy, and shoulder to cry on, despite not needing me. And that has been it for today's episode. Members of the Need to Be Needed Club, I love you. I want better for you. your friendships have the potential to be so much more fulfilling. You may have pulled yourself away or missed out on an amazing friendship because of your insecurity and your ego that came out to defend her. If you're in that position, reach out to your friend, reach out to the friend you drifted away from, and see if you guys can meet up and hang out and catch up and start to rebuild that friendship. Be vulnerable, be open, and focus on being wanted. Focus on serving your friends, showing up and loving them wholeheartedly and intentionally. And I pray that you find people who will match your energy and love you right back. So this has been it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any thoughts on needing to be needed, as always, shoot me a message on @MessyFriendshipLessons on all social media platforms. Catch us on Threads, catch us on Instagram, catch us on TikTok. Send me a message in the DMs and let's talk about it. I love you. God bless you. Bye.